In this video, I'd like to talk through an example of some troubles that students encounter when they're trying to formally state arguments and how you can fix those, okay? So these are excellent attempts that need some refinement and will be of help to you. So I asked the student to give me an example of a moral argument. And so here's what the student put. Number one, premises. Society is based on principles of fairness, respect, and cooperation. Number two, premises. Stealing involves taking someone else's property without their consent. Three, premises. Taking someone else's property without their consent violates the principles of fairness, respect, and cooperation, and undermines the stability and trust within society. Conclusion, therefore, stealing is normally wrong because it goes against the principles of fairness, respect, and cooperation that are necessary for a stable and functioning society. Okay, first of all, I want to say there's a lot that's great about this. I mean, there's some really good ideas here about principles of fairness and respect. I think we have a good notion of what the student is driving at, but there's some things we can do to tighten this up formally. And let me start with really basic things, the way I would like you to number your arguments. So the student has premises, conclusion, and they state that at the beginning of every line. That's not necessary. I just want the numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, just like that. That's all you need. Everything else is distracting. Secondly, I noticed that one of the lines, actually it's the conclusion, contains this word because. Therefore, stealing is normally wrong because it goes against the principles of fairness, respect, and cooperation. Now, I have a rule in my rule guide that says no line in an argument should contain words like since or because. Why would I say that? It's because a sentence that has one of those words in it isn't a mere premise or conclusion. It's actually a whole argument in disguise. And you need to break it up into the constituent parts of that argument to get your own train of thought clear. Let me explain to you. Here's what that word because is. Now, the word because precedes a premise and it follows a conclusion. So really, this line here is two lines. It should be broken up like this. Stealing goes against the premises of fairness, respect, and cooperation that are necessary for a stable and functioning society. Therefore, stealing is wrong. All right. So we're going to break those up. Now let's plug that back into our argument and see where that leaves us. Now we got 5 lines in our argument. Now, there's 2 issues with the argument at this point. Although it's got a lot of good ideas, you might have noticed that it's getting really repetitive. We've got a lot about fairness, respect, and cooperation in there. At the same time, it's not logically valid. Here's what I mean by that. The premises don't necessitate the truth of the conclusion. This doesn't fit into any implication rule or that is valid. Instead, you just got statement about stuff, therefore stealing is wrong. In fact, here's one clue why it's not valid. Nothing in any of the premises said anything about what makes something wrong. And yet the conclusion, well, stealing is therefore wrong, just drops in the conclusion. That's not valid. There's nothing about the premises that necessitate the wrongness of stealing. So I want to deal with both of these problems at once. And the first thing I want to do, I mean, if I'm the student, I mean, as the instructor, I can tell the main idea here that the student has, what they really care about is in that 4th premise. Stealing goes against these principles, and therefore it's wrong. And the other ones, the first 3, are just kind of trying to explain that in different ways. That's nice, but it's not really necessary. So I'm going to drop them out. I'm just going to X them out. Now I've got, here's my premise. Stealing goes against these principles, therefore it's wrong. Now we're on track. We've really clarified our line of thought, but it's still not a valid argument. We just got statement P, conclusion Q. Well, now you can use your modus ponens magic trick and make this a formally valid argument. Do you remember how to do this? You've got premise P, conclusion Q. All you need to do is insert a conditional statement which says if P, then Q, just like this. If stealing goes against these premises, then it's wrong. Well, it does go against those premises, therefore it's wrong. Now we're in business. We have a valid argument. And now the interesting part begins, because we can ask, well, is it sound? That is, are the premises of this valid argument true? Can I think of any counterexamples or reasons to doubt these premises? And that's the interesting part. So I'll pause there.